the elections that happen tonight, Lord, and that we would always portray your will with everything that we do here. Lord, we pray that you would give us wisdom for tonight's meeting. In your name we pray. Amen.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First on the agenda this evening is the approval of minutes for the March 23rd meeting. Got a motion from Alderman Poots, second from Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Blair?
Yes.
Alderman Kelly?
Yes.
Alderman Poots?
Yes.
Alderman Payne?
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher?
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler?
Yes.
Alderman Blair?
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the street reclamation contract. Y'all remember that we had to redo this because it had expired. We have two major arterial roads in our city that have to have this reclamation done to it. Basically, you're just grinding, the subsurface of the road was not sufficient, so the road has failed. We overlaid both College and Rasco roads about 2 years ago, and they're already finished. So this reclamation, we're going to regrind it, make the subsurface the proper thickness, and then we'll resurface it and have a beautiful new road. And Dana, would you tell them about what all we did was just redid the contract?
Yes, sir. Actually, this is a new tool in our toolbox. The contracts that we had didn't have this method of repair included in it, so we added a full depth reclamation. We received two bids, both I think were good. The load that I'm recommending award to is to Double T Construction, actually out of Holly Springs. As a primary, I'm also recommending that if they're willing to sign a contract, to have Lehman Roberts as the alternate contractor, first alternate, they were the second load. That way, if one contractor can't get to the work in the timely manner that we require or need, then we can go to the second alternate.
Second. Got a motion from Alderman Flores, second from Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion?
What's the lifespan of this thing?
Well, the reason we're using this method is some of the streets that we're doing, and we're going back behind some work that, just to be honest, wasn't adequate. And so if you don't have an even distribution of your subgrade, it's hard. Sometimes you don't see them fall or fail until after you've done improvements to it. This way, we can go in and mix in basically 8 to 10 inches thick, so we know what's below us for their whole mix width. And that says, okay, we've got this structure, we know it's here. And there are certain roads when you go into it, that we've done in the past that I would consider, we classified lost roads, where you're doing so much patching, the patching is significantly more than the surfacing. In reality, the full depth reclamation probably would be a better option, or more cost efficient option. It's in between a regular repair with overlay and a lost road. It's in between those two pricing. So it gives us a new option, something that we can have faith in when we get done and we've got a subgrade to.
And Alderman Kelly, the other thing is, we don't want to ever have to do this. I mean, what we're doing now is we're going in and testing it beforehand, correct, Dan? We're going in and testing
Right.
it. We don't want to, this is a screw up. I mean, this is a screw up. You know, and part of it though is because these roads were not built right the first time. They were built to be subdivision collector streets, not arterial roads. Like that section of Rasco was just it dead ended into residential neighborhoods. But then we cut the road through. It wasn't just a neighborhood collector street. It's getting arterial road traffic. So it wasn't built to handle that. So ideally, we're going to build it right the first time from now on and check it before we spend money on asphalt or on the overall.
I've never heard of Double T Construction. What, the background that they didn't do a lot of this stuff?
They do a good bit of it. The asphalt world, their primary business is asphalt. Both companies are actually subbing the grinding portion out to a cement company. Both of them's primary business is asphalt. Double T does work for MDOT. They actually overlaid some on Goodman Road here, their last section. So they're a reputable asphalt company.
And not only being qualified, but the best company is the one that will show up in a timely manner. And again, it's not, the ones we've used have been quality when they're there, but we've had some issues getting there. Any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you, Dan. Next on the agenda is the resolution for the DeSoto Economic Council Salute to Industry. It's just like we've done in the past. The Economic Development Council raises money for their services with a golf tournament once a year. So we've participated in this in years past. This is just to pay the cost of an entry fee for the golf tournament.
That's right. Oh, second.
We have a motion from Alderman Flores, second from Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the ratification of the Southampton Police Department emergency purchase. Mr. Nick Manley.
This resolution, or just action tonight, is for the ratification of the emergency signature for a contract by Mr. Wayne Perkins. What it was for, it's allowed for the police department not to lose their service for searching for people between the last two meetings. It also increased the amount of searches we can do under the contract per year. And so tonight, authorization just to ratify the signature on the contract, because we need to have that to allow them to do searches of individuals in between meetings, so that can be done for the protection and safety of the city of Southaven citizens, as allowed by Mississippi Code 31713K.
Mr. Mayor, I'll make a motion.
Had a motion from Alderman Flores, second from Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is a resolution for sanitation accounts.
It's just the authorization of file liens and/or put the fee on the tag for those people who have not paid sanitation accounts, along with the penalty for that.
So moved. Second.
Got a motion from Alderman Payne, second from Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the municipal court card services agreement.
Yeah, this was finalized on Friday, and then got the contract a couple hours ago. This contract will allow for the municipal court to to use online payments for credit cards. The contract requires the individual who is paying via credit card to pay the fee associated with that, an amount not to exceed 3.5%. Chris Shelton has worked with the vendor. We've got, I think it's going to be integrated with Munis and it'll work well with them. And so tonight, authorization for Shelton to sign the agreements for the municipal credit card for the courts, for the municipal court credit cards to be used online as part of paying fines and not including the fee paid by the individuals and not the city.
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Gallagher, second from Alderman Wheeler. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman who?
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes.
Alderman Wheeler.
Yes.
Alderman Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is recognition of the National Public Safety Telecommunications Week Proclamation. I'm going to read the proclamation to you this time, if I can see it. Good, yes. Whereas emergencies can occur at any time that require police, fire, or emergency medical services, and whereas when an emergency occurs, the prompt response of police officers, firefighters, and paramedics is critical to the protection of life and preservation of property. And whereas the safety of our police officers and firefighters is dependent upon the quality and accuracy of information obtained from citizens who telephone the City of Southaven Police Fire Communications Center. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the first and most critical contact for our citizens with emergency services. And whereas public safety telecommunicators are the single vital link for our police officers and firefighters by monitoring their activities by radio, providing them information, and ensuring their safety. And whereas public safety telecommunicators of the City of Southaven have contributed substantially to the apprehension of criminals, suppression of fires, and treatment of patients. And whereas each dispatcher has exhibited compassion, understanding, and professionalism during the performance of their job in the past year. And now therefore, I, Darren Musselwhite, by the authority vested in me as mayor of the City of Southaven, Mississippi, hereby proclaim April 11 through 17, 2021 as National Public Safety Telecommunicators Week in our city from the elected officials of the City of Southaven, Mississippi. And we know this board, and I know it as mayor, we're blessed not only with a great, great first responders in police and fire, but our telecommunicators do an outstanding job. Mr. Chris Shelton's in the back, so I commend you for your department and all your people. We recognize that these individuals, are unsung heroes. They're in the background, they're on the phone. People don't see them on the street. They're exposed to the same situations by phone. They have to respond in such a critical manner, and they have to witness and hear things that are disturbing. And so I just want to communicate that message to the city as mayor, that we appreciate what they do. We recognize that, and we're proud that we can honor them in this way. And I'd like to give them a hand. Okay, next on our agenda is the resolution to claim private property.
Mr. Mayor, I move we adopt the resolution granting authority to claim private property as presented on the state.
We have a motion by Alderman Brooks, second by Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Lee.
Yes.
Alderman Payne.
Yes.
Alderman Gallagher.
Yes. Yes.
Alderman Boyd.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is our planning agenda. Ms. Whitney Cook.
Yes, sir. Our first application is an amendment to the existing PUD known as the Sports Center PUD or the Diamonds of Snowden Grove PUD. This is where our sports complex, our parks office, strike zone area is located. The request from the applicant, as you will see in the highlighted red areas, was to amend the uses allowed in this area for these three lots to permit the possibility of a hotel going on here. Staff went out there, took a look at the locations and the proximity to the park, and we actually compromised down and said we were not okay with lot 1 and 2, which are going to be the ones on the south side of the drive, going towards the park office. That would be, one, it would obstruct visibility to our parks office and the sports center, and 2, it would be on the main entrance into our Snowden Grove Parks. We didn't want to obstruct that. We conceded to lot 5, which is going to be the north side up next to strike zone. The amendment to the PUD does not say one's coming, does not negate any other formal processes. It just puts it as an option under that PUD to allow it as a usable piece of property for a hotel. We looked at the character of the neighborhood. We looked at other sports venues such as this to see if there were hotels in close proximity. We determined that the hotel type that would be proposed here would be complex versus somebody down there by the hospital on Goodman Road, probably a smaller venue. So it was approved at the Planning Commission level to amend for lot 5 only. I will say that there was one planning commissioner that was against it, and I told him I would voice his complaint that he just thought they should stay on Goodman Road. The remainder of the commissioners disagreed with that. I disagreed with that myself. I do feel like this is a different option for a hotel use. So with that being said, it was voted unanimously with the exception of that one commissioner.
Motion to approve item number 1.
Second.
The motion by Alderman Wheeler, second by Alderman Flores. First of all, we'll allow public discussion in just a minute. But with the, I do have one question first. Like what you just said, you said that only lot 5, but in the text we have lot 1, 2, and 5.
What they requested, the application is for an amendment to lot 1, 2, and 5. In our recommendation in the staff report, it removes lot 1 and 2 and recommends only for lot 5.
Okay, why don't we have 1 and 2? Why is it not conflict on our agenda?
On the agenda, because that's their actual request. That was the actual application, was to amend the text for lots 1, 2, and 5.
Okay, so we'll make sure.
Yeah, that was just the request on the agenda, is their actual request in the application that came forward. Our staff report will remove lots 1 and 2, and it was voted on to remove lot 1 and 2 and only leave lot 5 in.
Okay, let's make sure that it's documented.
Sure.
It's only 5. Y'all still go with that? Okay. Okay. Is there anyone in the audience first, before we have further board discussion? Is there anyone in the audience who would like to speak regarding the rezoning? Anyone in the audience like to speak regarding the rezoning of this property? Okay, hearing or seeing none, is there any discussion among the board?
Was there any concern from staff or you about what lot 22 would be good for?
We've looked at it and you would be amazed with what some of the text allows for there. I disagree with some of the allowable uses on the text, which we'll discuss with the applicants. Obviously, I think it would be good to use it for recreational purpose that would complement, the park system, something that the smaller kids could utilize, something that's lower to the ground than a 3-story hotel that's gonna block view and take away from the enhancement of the main entrance of the park. But I think a recreational use would be great there. It kind of falls in line with what you see in that area. I think retail centers, they had, dog kennel facilities allowed, they had daycare facilities allowed. None of that matches to me. But this PUD was approved in the 90s, so kind of foreseeing what to do now is obviously different. But I definitely see some type of recreational use that may actually complement a hotel across the way too.
Didn't we, with the old parks building, I thought there was going to be a hotel there, or there was going to be like a hotel there with some kind of,
On the parts, that's only 1.5 acres, so a hotel actually couldn't go on
I
that
think it was going to
site.
go, in that area behind there.
When the gentleman talked and purchased it from us, he had some conceptual designs, but he's not a developer himself, he's more of an investor. Conceptually, obviously, you could look at that area for a hotel. We've always looked at that area, on the Getwell Road corridor by Snowden as a hotel, being a possibility. This one seems to be a little bit more in a reality form than the
I was
property
thinking it
being
was going
sold.
to be on that corner, and then we were going to come and see that silo stuff has to develop on this.
I don't recall it ever being on the corner. Like I said, that's only 1.5 acres.
Which development?
There was something.
The maintenance building.
A few months back, we had something that they were going to put some kind of hotel on the water park or something like that.
Well, it's not the same piece of property. What you're talking about
It's
is
across the street, right?
the property the city used to own. It's right
The
here,
11 acres to the north.
right there.
That's what I was
There was
referring to.
discussion, we've not received a proposal yet, but there was discussion that there may be some type of recreational facility combined with a hotel there. But no, these are two, as you can see, these are different pieces of property.
Okay. And the other one would be facing more Getwell than be over here.
Well, we haven't seen the design.
Yeah, and that's all conceptual. Like I said, this one, for them to do the amendment, there must be somebody interested in, putting one here. Like I said, everything on the 11 acres that we sold was conceptual master plan design. We've seen that several times. Until it comes to fruition and comes in our office, nothing's realistic at that point.
Any other discussion on item 1? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
Alderman Key.
Yes.
Alderman
Yes.
Cavanagh.
Yes.
Alderman
Yes.
Flores.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Application number 2 is for Silo Square Phase 4 on the north side of Bay Boulevard, east of Tullahoma. So this is going to actually be in the conservation area off of Tullahoma, the single-family residential. It's 37.44 acres with 37 lots. Those range in size from 15,000 to 19,000 square feet plus. It does build out a portion of Bay Boulevard and it extends north into 2 coves called Bob White Circle and Grand Oaks Cove. The open space incorporated in the area is on the exterior of the homes. It has the trailway through it that connects back down. I have submitted the master plan that was approved initially back in 2017. You'll see this does fall in line with that plan. Per the PUD, the approved heated square footage for the section is set at 23, but we've seen 2,300 square feet. Average over there has been between 26 and 3,200, but it does meet those minimums. It does meet the minimum lot sizes, and it does match the road plan that was already designed and approved. Did check with 911 to make sure that the road names were not repetitive and wouldn't cause any issues, because we've had some problems with that in the past. These two have been okay so long as there's no repetitious numbers for Grand Oaks Cove and Grand Oaks Drive. They did concede to that, so we recommend approval.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend everybody on the Zoom planning agenda as presented tonight.
Second.
We have a motion from Alderman Flores, second from Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion on 2? Hearing none, roll call.
Alderman Brooks.
Yes.
Alderman Kelly.
Yes.
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 That motion carries.
Application number 3 is also for Silos Brook. This is going to be on the commercial side, lot 6, which is going to be on the west side of Gatwell Road. It's going to be south of May Boulevard. It's 1.997 acres. It does have a rear access drive and a private drive to the north. There is no access to Getwell Road shown. All right-of-way has already been dedicated and approved on Getwell Road. They do have an installed sidewalk down the linear width of this lot along with the other frontage lots. Standard utility easements have been identified. We did look at the master plan again, reference back. It is compliant with that. We do have some general note issues in terms of the non-exclusive ingress egress. He has agreed to change that. That being said, it was voted unanimously in favor of.
Mr. Mayor, I recommend we approve item number 3.
Second.
We have a motion on item 3 by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Payne. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes.
That motion carries.
Our final application is for Lakes of Nicholas, Section L, Phase 3. This is going down the west side of Marshall Louise Drive and south of College Road. It's 8.32 acres of property with 27 lots. The roads do connect with the future phases 4 and 5 of the subdivision, which are located to the south. Also connects to the existing roadway of Leah Lane. No common open space. Text and outline was approved in the early 2000s. It is compliant with that. And it is compliant with subdivision regulations and zoning ordinances. Staff recommended approval as submitted, and it was voted unanimously in favor of.
Mr. Mayor, I make a motion that we approve item number 4 on the planning agenda as presented.
Second.
We have a motion on item 4 by Alderman Gallagher, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That motion carries. Thank you, Whitney. Next on the agenda is our mayor's report. As I informed the board in last meeting's discussion, I did reach out to Urban Art for a task order to study seating and concession improvements to the Bankless Amphitheater. So we do have that in place, and so I'm asking for approval of that task order.
So moved.
Second.
We got a motion by Alderman Flores, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? And it is in line, same, Nick's reviewed that, can answer any questions, but it's in line as far as the rate curve with the master contract.
Doesn't issue master contract, and require that, so master contract.
Any questions for Nick or any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That motion carries. And y'all remember a discussion we had late in 2020 about studying Central Park to see, we listened to some current concerns of citizens and looked for things that need to be done at Central Park. One of those things, actually it was already in the works before that discussion, was replacing playground equipment. Y'all know that we have a neighborhood parks budget line. The purpose for that is to go through our parks and to do routine things that are going to be an ongoing expense, replacement playground equipment, walking trails, maintenance, things of that nature. And so this playground is bigger because Central Park is such a huge park. It's bigger than your normal neighborhood playground. It's going to be comparable to the Field of Dreams playground that we have at Stone Grove Park. But anyway, Wes in our Parks Department has done the RFP on this just to get the maximum amount that we could get for $100,000, which we had budgeted. And so it's his recommendation that we award this and move on and get that playground installed.
So moved.
Second.
Just so we have this in minutes, we're going to award the rates on the recreation. And it'd be based on them having the most tangible completes middle. They have hard top canopies. It fills the space line completely and visually, and the slides are not attached. And then the Parks Department also has familiarity with the quality of work provided by the company. And that will also, they think that would be the best, must be recommending for them as the local, as the best exposure has zero all, we gave them $100,000 for this thing, we have to work within that budget, and they provide the budget proposal to turn on the park placements back to this budget.
Good job. So we got a motion, Alderman Brooks, second Alderman Flores. Is there any other discussion?
Is that, it's 100, is that, that's the 70, so we're going to send the 70, we're just going to additional to out of the neighborhood budget, is that where it's going to?
Well, we'll manage the budget, yes, but we'll manage the budget based on, after this. There's other things in the neighborhood line, not just playground equipment, but yeah, that was the main thing that we started with, is renovate the playground equipment in all neighborhood parks. I don't have that in front of me exactly what's left or whatever, but we review that frequently. While we're talking about that, one of the other things that we looked at Central Park was the condition of the walking trails. After a while, you know, you have wear and tear on that. The beautiful thing about Central Park is you have so many big trees. The bad thing about that is the tree roots kill the walking trails. So that's a struggle we have. But we, as y'all know, we looked into doing some of our own paving in-house. If we're able to eventually do that, that would allow us to go and replace these trails in-house too. So that's all part of a plan. We haven't gotten there yet. We just want to kind of give everybody an update on that too. But we know the trails do need to be, they need some maintenance. Okay, any other discussion? Hearing none, roll call please.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That motion carries. One other thing to update you real quickly, we talked about the Rasco-Tullahoma traffic signal. You may have noticed that they've started work out there. They're doing all that they can do. We still don't have the mast arms yet because of the back order with lack of, or limitations with the supply chain. We think that we're going to have those in about 30 days, but they've gone ahead and started work. As y'all know, we've discussed many times, that intersection has become urgent, that we get some signalization there. So they're already working on that, and then when the mast arms come in, they'll be able to go ahead and complete that project. Just a quick update there. And that's all I have. Anybody got any questions?
Hey, we have any kind of update on the Horn Lake Creek Bridge?
Dan, Horn Lake Creek Bridge update?
They were projected to be done in July. They are running behind schedule, so in reality, I think it's going to be closer to August before they're complete and it's in use.
Any idea what's causing the broke behind?
Yeah, they haven't applied the focus to it that they should. They have about 4 projects. I think they were lucky and got several projects they weren't anticipating, and so they're undermanned. They have applied the crews that we need now, but they missed a lot of time.
I've been after several times, so when anybody else I can go to.
It's a working day contract, so they're running out of working day. So they'll be probably in
Thank you, Dave. And then one last thing, just to let you know that there is discussion, our concert promoter contract at the Bankless Amphitheater expired December 31st. There is a lot of work going on. I informed y'all that I would be doing some legwork to make a proposal to you. We believe on April 20th that we'll be able to give a proposal to the board. But we're discussing that now, trying to get the details worked out. But count on that April 20th, I will have something to put before you. Okay, any other questions? Okay, we'll move on. Next on the agenda is our personnel document.
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve personnel documents on the state.
Second. We have a motion from Alderman Brooks and a second from Alderman Hoots. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
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 City Attorney's legal update.
Here's just a variance for alcohol at the April 17, 2021 for a 50th birthday party. Show it to your facilities use policy and get variance in the back.
We have a motion from Alderman Brooks, second from Alderman Kelly. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. Is that in there?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Next on the agenda is our utility bill adjustment docket.
Mr. Mayor, move we approve the utility bill week adjustment docket as presented on the state.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Brooks. Is there any discussion? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on our
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 1 in the amount of $4,136,500.66, including the main checks.
There's a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Hughes. Is there any discussion on docket 1? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
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 Yes. Yes.
Yes.
Okay, that motion carries on docket 1. Is there a motion to approve docket 2?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve docket number 2 in the amount of $16,018.96.
Second.
We have a motion by Alderman Payne, second by Alderman Flores. Is there any discussion on docket 2? Hearing none, roll call.
Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes. Yes.
Yes.
That motion carries. Next on the agenda is the purpose of determining the need for executive session. The only thing we had on there was to discuss economic development. It's election night. I know people are anxious to see election results. There's not anything, as y'all know, with previous updates, there's an enormous amount of economic development going on within the city of Southaven. But as of right now, there's nothing urgent that really needs any details to be discussed unless y'all want to go back. So it's my recommendation, unless you have specific questions, that we do not have a need for executive session this evening.
I second.
Okay, is there a motion to adjourn by Alderman Brooks? Is there
Second.
Second by Alderman Gallagher. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed say no. Ayes have it, motion carries. This meeting is now adjourned.
You guys.